Welcome to everyone. This is Baburao Punchala. Today, I would like to discuss about one of the current events. China changed its diplomacy in Central Asia. So now I would like to discuss about the diplomacy of China in Central Asia. So recently, it was in news. So why in news? So what I am going to cover in this video, China's diplomacy in Central Asia. So right, first one, I would like to cover why in news, and second one, what is the status of China's relation with Central Asia, and third one, what is the status of India relations with Central Asia. That is also very important, the relationship between the China and India. And next one, what are the challenges to India's relations with Central Asia? That's also very important. So, the Collective Security Treaty Organization. What is the Collective Security Treaty Organization? And what is SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization? The role of India in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We will discuss all these important issues or important points which is related to the Chinese and India's relations, particularly in Central Asia. So now here, first of all, why in news? So China and its diplomacy in Central Asia recently in news. Why in news? That's very important. And students, C plus C5, these are some Central Asian republics. That meeting was indicated the growing diplomatic ties of China with Central Asian region. Right, that's why it's in news. A Central Asian Republic grouping trade actually started changing the diplomatic ties with the China and particularly in Central Asian region. That's why in news. So, next one, what is the status of Chinese relations with Central Asia? What is the status of relation? What is the present situation or present position of the Chinese relations with Central Asia? So students, then you need to understand the ancient Silk Route. That's one of the first important thing here. The Central Asia, China actually connected to the Central Asia through the Silk Route. It provided trade and culture and people-to-people contacts and links with the Central Asian region with China historically. And China has ancient ties with the Central Asian countries that actually revived during this period. That's what is important. And next one here, breakup of the Soviet Union. That is also very important. After breakup of the Soviet Union, China got opportunity to formalize the ties with the Central Asia. That is also one thing here. It is also one of the opportunity to China to start a new relations with the Central Asian countries. So, and everyone knows that China also strengthened its organization and cooperation, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where China actually started a very good and strong relations with the region, that is actually initialized with the SCO. By using the SCO, China actually started implementing a strong relations with the Central Asian countries. Right? This is one of the main important point. And again here, China actually revived the trade route to the Central Asian. That is actually provided trade route to Europe for China. China actually who wants to build a trade route to the Europe that is actually passing through the Central Asian countries. That is also one of the major important Chinese policy in particularly Central Asia. So then the Chinese investments actually that is also attracted the Central Asian countries. China started investing in those countries and it has started helping upgrade what we call Soviet era infrastructure and carry out development works to these countries. That's also what happening. So then the One Belt Road and Belt and Road Initiative, and everyone knows that, students here. And the Belt Road Initiative, there are around 51 projects located in this region. Yes, which is provided a transit hub for the Chinese trade with Europe. you know that One Belt and One Road initiative actually passing, which is connecting the Central Asia, and actually the main ending point is this here, Europe. So China, who actually started to connect the Europe via Central Asia. So China wants to cover all the Central Asian and Mediterranean Sea countries. That is also one of the main reason. And C++ and C5 summit, that is very very important because it is currently in news. A grouping of China, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Kyrgyzstan. These are the C5 countries. C5 summit, C China plus C5 countries. These are the group actually, which is also helps to China to build a great and good relations with the Central Asian countries, where China wants to dominate the Central Asian countries and its foreign policies and trade trade relations with the Central Asian countries also. So now here, the summit is the latest development of the series of China's engagement with the Central Asia. That's why news, already we discussed why news here, because China focused on the C5 countries. The C5 countries are Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan. These are the C5 countries. So China started focusing on the C5 countries after breakup of the Soviet Union, and China focused on all these regions. The students, Central Asian is not only important to connect the European countries, this is actually important for the resources also. Central Asian countries actually which had the richest resources of the uranium and which richest the resources of the minerals. So, and trading point of view, and at the same time the business and commerce point of view also, then the Central Asian countries are important. That's why China shifted his policy to the Central Asian countries. So next one here, what is the status of India's relation with the Central Asian countries? Yeah, when we discussed about the China, definitely, and everyone thinking about what is the relation of the India to the Central Asian countries, that's also important. And everyone knows that India also had a good relation with the Central Asian countries, and it is also shifted focus on the Central Asian countries when China started focusing on the Central Asian countries. So what is the status of India's relation with the Central Asian countries? I hope you know the summit of the C5. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted a virtual summit of the C5 in 2022. Again, India also actually meeting. India also met the C5 countries like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. These countries, India also hosted a virtual summit for the C5 countries, where India also tried to showing its domination in the Central Asian countries. So everyone actually, the importance of the Central Asian countries already we discussed. It's not only trading point of view, and it is also to connect the European countries. This is via land route. This is a very very important thing here. So next one here, India's first engagement with the Central Asian nations collectively at the highest level. That's also one of the important one. So next one here, Shanghai Cooperation, where everyone knows that India also being one of the member of the Shanghai Cooperation. It is not only member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and India also influenced its decision on the region, which are mostly related to the security concerns, right? And the mostly here in Central Asian countries, where you can see this China and Pakistan also member of the Shanghai Cooperation, and where India focusing on mostly in terrorist groups, and at the same time here, and where India focusing on security concerns also, right? India who want to remove the terrorism from the society, particular terrorism actually, where you can see in India that was actually influenced and encouraged by the Pakistan, encouraged by the other foreign countries. So India wants to remove that terrorism from that, right? That's the one thing you need to understand. The second very very important point here, India, everyone knows that India who is developing the Chawar port, it's providing the trade route via sea, right? That's very very important. Then air corridors, that's also very very important. India should try the air corridors to overcome the hurdles of the land route, right? When there is some hurdles to the land route, because the Central Asian most of the area, the region is hilly region. So now here it's try to here where the airways also, India try to overcome the airways also, air corridors also. Already India tried to overcome the Chawar port, which is connected from the Iran to the Afghanistan to the Central Asian countries. So India is actually a part of the development of the Chawar port. So next one here, air corridors also. India developing the air corridors in the Central Asian area, where it helps to develop the Central Asian countries, and at the same time here it helps to growing the relationship between the India and the Central Asian countries. That's very very important. So what are the challenges to India relations with the Central Asia? Any challenges are there? Yeah. So one by one, not only advantages, at the same time here challenges also there. The first hurdle you need to understand non-availability of the land trade route. That's very very important since its access being denied by the Pakistan. Everyone knows that there is a huge barrier between the Central Asian countries and India is the Pakistan. So one side here Afghanistan, but Afghanistan we are sharing. That means India sharing only limited boundary with the Afghanistan. It's around 72 to 76 kilometers. But that is also is not accessible to that is not a accessible route also to enter into the Afghanistan. So the majority of the bound is shared with the Pakistan and west side. So now if you want to connect the Central Asia, definitely you need to cross the Pakistan. But that is one of the huge barrier for the India to maintain good relation with the Central Asian countries via the trade route, via the land route. That is the first point here, major hurdle. Even though Chabar Port provided sea trade, it is not fully developed yet. Now it's a continuously developing process, but it's not fully developed. So India should focus more on the Chabar Port and connected to the Iran to the Afghanistan. That is also very very important. So now the Central Asia have well established relationship with China and Russia, and leaving less room for the India. Already Russia who dominated that area, and other side here China started dominating. But now here already two major countries who dominate in the Central Asian area. So now if you observe here, there is a less room for the India to develop or to focus on that areas, right? That is also one of the limitation of the India. Even though India, a number of SCO, it is a decision or limited to securing the Congress. That's very very important. So now here, the Russia and China are historically connected, unlike India. So it is already, if you observe this in Central Asian, mostly here China and Russia who connected historically to the Central Asian countries, whereas in India there was no that much of ties between the India and Central Asian countries. That is what we need to understand. And again here it is very hard to develop a deep relationship with the region. So that's why here, because China and Russia had a very good relationship, because here they had ancient and very good historical relation with the Central Asia. That is also one of the hurdle for the India to maintain the good relation with the Central Asian countries. So now here, the Collective Security Treaty Organization. This is one of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. If you observe here, it organizes from the conclusion of this Collective Security Treaty. It's completely it originates from the conclusion of the Collective Security Treaty. So what is Collective Security Treaty, right? The treaty was signed in Tashkent and Uzbekistan in May 1992. This is a very very important treaty. Then what was there in the treaty, right? The members mostly here, if you observe in Collective Treaty Organization, if you observe the members here, like here Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Belarus, Azerbaijan and Georgia. These are the some Collective Treaty Organization. So, and these CSC, here, the highest body of the organization and consists of the heads of the members of states. It's very very important. Then what about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? India also member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Everyone knows that, and it was started or it was founded in the 2001 on 15th June. That's very very important. Then there are 8 member states in this Shanghai Cooperation Organization. That's like China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Pakistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. These are the 8 member of the states actually present members of the Shanghai Cooperation. So students. And SCO has mainly focused on the regional security issues. It's mostly fight against the regional terrorism and maybe ethnic separatism and religious extremism. It was focused on these areas. Students here. Then this SCO also had has been becoming observed in the United Nations General Assembly since 2005. So right. So now if we observe all these positive and negative aspects of these things here, and India is also trying to focus on these Central Asian countries, where the China actually shifted their focus on the Central Asian countries. Both countries are trying to start the dominating or trying to connect the Central Asian countries. But now here, India had some hurdles because it may be land and via sea route to hurdles are there for Indian purpose. Where the China easy to access the Central Asian countries because already we discussed It had a historical and cultural ties with the Central Asian countries. But in India, to connect the Central Asian countries for India, there was a major hurdle is here Pakistan, which is actually existed between these two countries. You know, the two continents like Central Asian and India. So right, anyway, here we need to observe here. We hope that India also develop the sea route and land route for the Central Asian countries. We hope that India also do the best, and India may compete with the China, particularly on the Central Asian countries relations. Right? We hope it. Thank you very much.